I would first like to throw up a spoiler warning as this video will contain plot and character details for the whole franchise.
The games begin.
One of the most defining aspects of the Danganronpa franchise has to be the execution scenes.
It's punishment time!
When a character is found guilty, they're taken to an elaborate setup that plays out to their eventual death via painful torture. There were a lot of executions throughout the franchise, but which were my favourite from the three mainline titles? Firstly though, I would like to quickly talk about my least favourite execution, which would be Mikan's from Danganronpa 2. It's just so quick and unsatisfying, especially considering how Mikan killed two of the cast. Watching it gives me the impression that it was originally supposed to be different in terms of setup and execution, but it was changed and falls flat as a result. It doesn't even have the infamous music chord when the executions are supposed to become more intense and painful. Her head doesn't even explode. 0 out of 10. On to the good stuff. For the first game, I find the executions kind of underwhelming in comparison to the later games. That can be forgiven as it was their first go at this story structure, and there are some creative ones like Mondo's. My personal favourite has to be the final one for our dear bitch queen of despair, Junko Enoshima. After seeing her actions kill so many characters throughout the game, it's both rewarding and hilarious to see her go through variations of all the executions. There's a bit of everything here, which I appreciate. I also love how Junko reacts to the execution with a smile instead of fear. She loves the despair presented to her by experiencing the ultimate punishment. The only other emotion she shows is surprise when there is delay on the machine before it crushes her. Simple but effective, like the first game. I approve. My pick for the second game has to go to my favourite character, Chiaki Nanami. Chiaki and the mascot character Munumi are placed in a video game inspired setup to complement her talent as the ultimate gamer, because cruel irony. The second game is where the talents of the characters are used more prominently against them in the executions. Blasted out by a tank, chased by a Pac-Man machine before finally being crushed in a giant game of Tetris. The fact that there were multiple different methods that were used during this execution to kill Chiaki shows how much Monokuma and the mastermind behind him wanted her out of the picture. The player being led to this conclusion in order to help the mastermind get rid of Chiaki, who was an AI built into the game that could stop them because giant digital Junko Enoshima. That actually happened. This one hits me due to the sadness of losing my favourite character. Peko and Gundam's executions were also sad, but this one was the most brutal in the game and it just hurts to watch. While Junko's execution felt like a victory with the player seeing the villain meeting their end, Chiaki's execution feels like a defeat with her giving up at the end knowing that she couldn't escape her fate in the Tetris game. The end of the best girl in the franchise. For me, picking a favourite from Danganronpa V3 was the most difficult because I believe there wasn't a bad execution in the whole game. I like all of them for different reasons, but I narrowed it down to the first one, the execution of Kaede Akamatsu. I will never look at a piano the same way ever again. The guilty party Kaede is strung up by the neck and used to play a giant piano until getting crushed by its closing lid. I think this one works similar to Chiaki for me, but differently as it happens to the supposed main protagonist of the game. V3 sold Kaede as the protagonist through both its marketing and the first investigation, and then the game slaps you in the face with the reveal that she was the first killer of the game. Or was she? Yeah, it's one of those games. Another aspect of this execution that works is the tune that Kaede is being used to play is considered a beginner's piece. The fact that it's being played so badly adds insult to injury. Look at the crowd of booing bears at the performance. It also references the first executions of the other two games with a collar grabbing her by the neck and dragging her backwards to her fate. References are funny when done right. My question is, when did Kaede die? I like it when something is left up to the viewer's interpretation instead of giving a flat answer, kind of like V3 as a game. Even the Monocops help out their father with the execution. Bye, Monokid. I feel like what makes an execution the best for me are the small details that leave the player feeling the most emotions, triumph or sadness or shock, the building blocks of a good execution. If you have any other favourite executions that weren't mentioned in this video, feel free to comment below, like and subscribe for more content from yours truly. Also, follow me on Twitter through the link in the description. Cheers for watching. Thanks, Team Danganronpa.